I'm outside the Walmart 2024 now. I've noticed that Walmart's cut back on their kayak assortment a little bit this year, so let's get into it and see what they are carrying. This is how they hang up boats. They're all hung from a carabiner off of the bow handle, which isn't really ideal. And they're certainly gathering sunshine. So outside by the garden center, they've created this little rack with prices. So this is my shopping experience. I'm gonna take you through the boats here and show you kind of some of the differences. We're looking at the Tahoma 100, and basically the Tahoma is the same hull as the Tamarack 100 Angler that I'm going to show you down there, just some different features. The Tahoma does not have flush mount rod holders or rod holder up there, and the seat is a little more simple. It doesn't have a neoprene seat bottom. But if you can supply your own bottom for sitting and you're not very interested in the Angler setup, this is a pretty good value at $264. Tank well bungees, drainage. You have a pretty simple hatch that gives access to the entire inside of the hatch. You have a cup holder here, paddle holder. This is nice, so you can be hands-free taking photos or helping somebody else by putting your paddle there. These grips are good quality, but one of the downsides here, not having them right on the side, is when you pick this up, can have a tendency to kind of pinch your fingers a little bit. Got bungees up top as well, and bow and stern carry handles. It comes with this two-piece aluminum paddle. Honestly, if you're an enthusiastic paddler, this is kind of a throwaway. I would invest in a nicer paddle if you can. So at $334, so just a little bit more expensive than the Tahoma, is the Tamarack Angler 100. So what you pay for is having a neoprene back here, which unfortunately is getting pounded by the sun, seat pad, rod holders there and there, an included rod holder, and a mount right there for this rod holder. I have a video in a Tamarack on the channel. I'll put it in the descriptions before. I had a ton of fun with this boat. It's actually a really nice paddling boat. Capacity, they say, is 275. I'm not sure it's that high. At this price, $334, does not look like a paddle is included. So you jump over to the Tahoma at $264, you are getting a paddle, not a very nice one that I would replace immediately, pretty much a throwaway paddle. You don't get that padded seat there and there. There are ways around that, but you're getting the same hull. So they've got them side by side here, and obviously you can tell they're basically the same boat, just different features. Okay, so we jump up to $574, and now we're into the Yukon Angler 116. So this is 11'6", definitely a lot more boat going on here for the price. It's an included frame chair. Hate seeing these get pounded by the sun and all the clips and so forth. You do have the ability to move your positioning around a little bit in this. So you have a high position right here that you can move the seat to, or you can move it down low and be in a low position. So that's kind of nice. 2 flush mount rod holders, tank wells. You do have tracks on either side, so you can accessorize. Now you have a paddle holder on either side, which is nice. A little bit of a texturing surface here, pretty cool. Those are decent foot braces. I've used these and I'm happy with how they adjust. They're canted a little bit, really comfortable. You've got a stand-up assist strap, so if you want to stand up in this, it's going to be easier to get yourself up. A bigger opening hatch that gives access to the entire boat. And just definitely more of a kayak. At $574, this is a decent deal, no paddle included. I've paddled this boat, does pretty well. 11'6". It's gonna be a heavier boat to carry around, but if you're looking for stability or capacity, that's the way to go. Okay, $418, we're jumping to the Tamarack Pro. And this is pretty cool. This was kind of something that Lifetime responded to the marketplace. A lot of people were buying the Tamarack Angler and then putting frame chairs in it. So they basically modified that same exact hull as the Tahoma and the Tamarack Angler, but made a frame chair version. A little bit more simplified. Again, just paddle holder on one side, but you do get tracks on either side. I think there's a lot to this boat. Again, I've said I've paddled it. It paddles nicely. Again, if you need more capacity, that'd be one concern. This is going to be around, they say 300, but you know, somebody under about 225, 250 pounds, probably ideal. You do have paddle holders on either side. You do have that hatch, water bottle holder, bungees up front, tracks on either side. Good foot braces, the same one that the Yukon's featuring. Adjust really easily. And then probably the closest alternative to that here from Pelican is this Rally 100. It doesn't have all the fishing features, hence the price at $336, but it's a frame chair, sit on top at that kind of 10-foot length. This is going to be twin sheet formed, meaning they take these two pieces of plastic and melt them together. Deck and hull formed. Deck and hull are fused together. It's just kind of a different way of building boats. Foot braces, not as desirable, so definitely a kind of a pay for what you get. $336 on the Rally. If I was choosing between the Rally 100 here or the Lifetime Tamarack Angler, without question, I'm going Tamarack Angler. So for me, what do I think the best buy is here? If you just wanted to get out in the water and have a ton of fun and you're going out for a couple hour paddle, I think this Tahoma is pretty killer value. Definitely take the savings and buy a nicer paddle. My recommendation is the Bending Branches Whisper or the Bending Branches Sunrise GS. It's going to be around $100 or under, $75 for the Whisper. Then if I was looking for something a little nicer, it's going to be a pretty close tie behind the Tamarack Angler. I don't really need the frame chair personally. I like just a standard seat. Padding is nice on that. But if you're somebody that really wants comfort, you're gonna be spending more time in the boat, the frame chair may be the way to go. You're gonna pay a little bit of a premium, up to $418 from $334 to have that frame chair and the track mounts. So if you're really doing more fishing, this might be the way to go. And if you're kind of casually fishing, I can't say enough good stuff about the Tamarack Angler 100 at that price point. And again, if you have no interest in the fishing and you're casually going out for shorter outings, the Tahoma is going to be a good option. These components, you know, basically getting the rod holders and the seat pads are really got to be worth it to pay that extra little bit more. Over here on the other wall, hanging up, are their Tandem offerings. These are Lifetime Kokanees. They've got them priced at $378, and it's a shorter tandem. Max capacity 425. You're gonna have to paddle in unison. Probably not great for too large adults, although it does have this extra wide stern, which does give it some added stability. One thing that is nice about this is you can take this seat position out and set it here and paddle it solo. It's a big boat to do so, but maybe you want to bring your dog out, or you want your kids sitting up front or behind you even, and you could be managing this boat from the center position here. Okay, we're back in the sporting goods department, and they're carrying from Lifetime at the 8-foot mark, the Daylight. Formed in foot braces, sit on top, comes with a paddle. They call this thing model 91347. And in fact, if you communicate with Walmart or Lifetime about this, you definitely want to reference the number versus the model name. It does have a seat back in it, no seat pad. So that's what they're doing here in the 8-foot. And that's going to be great for anybody like 8 years old and up. Probably when you start to get closer to 200 pounds, you should look for a longer boat. Here at the front of the store, they have the Guster and the Charger. And I'm going to do a little voiceover description of what you're seeing. They're both sit insides. I really prefer the Guster. Main reason why are padded seat bottom, nice long thigh support, and also comes with a paddle. Pretty basic foot braces, but it does have those thigh pads you see versus the Charger here, which doesn't have that. I do like the hatch access on the Guster to the right for putting flotation in the boat. Hard to do here on the Charger. So the Charger has that formed-in tank well, adjustable seat. It's padded on the back, adjustable and removable. Pretty simple seat shape and bottom pad here, but it does offer something. You have to be a little bit more careful about the sharp edges around the seat and the combing. It does come with an included paddle and basic foot brace again. Here's that inside of the combing, a little bit sharp there. You can pad it out or sand it down a little bit. Nice keel line on the Charger and on the Guster. Just want to point out, you're definitely not going to get a skirt to hold on that combing. And looking at this paddle holder, it's about as basic as you can get. Well, this is interesting. This year, it looks like they're carrying a kid's Pelican at 19 pounds. This is going to be your kid's boat, your 6-footer. It's called the Solo. Very similar to the Lifetime Wave. Just a formed-in seat, little water bottle holder, draining, couple foot braces. And this one has kind of this triple tracking hull, so it'll probably track pretty well, and I'd recommend this for kids up to about 8 years in age. Kind of like the drain plug that they're using. And as we look over the boat, you have your scupper holes, nice little seat shape, and then this is a little swim up deck that's kind of cool. They did have this inflatable kayak for $138. They call it a tandem, but it's going to be tight with 2 adults. This is going to be a basic inflatable kayak for small waterways, ponds, little lakes. It's going to be tight back there for the stern paddler. And paddles are very basic, and the pump is a very basic pump. So again, fun to be out on little waterways, but be careful where you put it. Just came back to my local Walmart about 10 days after this initial video was shot. I wanted to see if the warm weather we've had recently depleted their inventory. It has a little bit, but they still have decent stock. I have noticed that most of the box stores have limited their buy a little bit this year, so you may have a hard time finding some of the boats that I've reviewed here. If you do order from walmart.com and have it shipped, generally that's being shipped by the vendor, not always the case. You'll always want to inspect the boat before you take delivery, looking bow and stern, looking at all the fixtures. One of the things that really concerns me is how much sun abuse and just dirt and road grime these boats get sitting out here. So if I was selecting one, I would take one from back behind here. And the last thing I'll comment on is there's really no bad boat, bad kayak. It's just a bad application. Most of the boats Walmart carries here are, I affectionately call, kind of toyaks or playaks. They're great for shoreline, gentle cruising, small lakes, but these are not the type of boats you want to take out into big open water. The sit inside boats that Walmart sells do not have deep water safety. Your solution in the event of a capsize is basically to swim to shore. So something that you should really note, you can add flotation to the tune of about $40 per bow and stern flotation bladder, and that will make things a bit safer for you, but something to really think about. Be safe out there and have fun. Thanks guys for watching.